ask you a question because I don't know for sure, and that's because of my own ignorance. But I don't know who is like what is the official structure of ESS? Like who's part of the organization? Because I know some things have changed around. We don't have to talk about prospective players or anything, but. Now that Logan and Llama are pretty much, going to be MIA. Yeah. Who's and Zeddy's obviously playing and everything, but who else is there that we know?
On the team, there's Young Forest Fire, who's always shooting for PR, of course, and will always be shooting for PR. Just kidding, love you, Forest.
What? You think he's never gonna make PR?
No, he might make PR. He's got to work on some mentality stuff. He definitely has. And all of that has come from training with me. So if any of you out there want to make PR, I'm just kidding.
This guy.
No, I love Forrest. He's like our main PR guy. He helps out whenever we're like, hey, we got to make a tweet, we got to do this, we got to post on Facebook. He's been helping out a whole ton with that, and because that's pretty important. That's how you get word out. But at the same time, it's like, God, dude, there's really other things that we got to do. So he's been super awesome helping us out with that. And then Tomo. Actually, as well as Forrest has been totally stepping it up recently. I was thinking about past Forrest and how he got started. Now he's our main TO, and he's taking all the money and setting up the brackets, and he's getting all that started, and he's been super awesome about that.
He talked about him kind of taking a role in that a little bit more recently. And
because we honestly needed it. Logan was doing that a whole lot, and he was out there and he was doing stuff, and we'd only rarely have to be hey, can we run the bracket, Logan? And he's oh yeah, my bad.
The tournaments require two things. You need that front end team, and you need a back end team. Back end team to run the streams and make sure that people are playing their brackets, and then that front end team to interact with people.
Exactly. And so we were losing that. So Forrest has been stepping it up and helping us out with that. Same thing with Tomo. He's been helping out a lot with TO work and helping me get my equipment set up over at UW or whenever he comes in, and I was like, oh man, I gotta adjust this thing on the stream or something like that. He's like, I got it. He's been super helpful that way. Shockbound has been taking over for a lot of the stream duties because we've streamlined how we are outputting our videos. He used to be the dude that would he would just take all the raw data from our recording and go home, clip it up, and then put it up on YouTube. And I was dude, that's
what we used to do.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, that's so much work. What can we do to make this easier for you? And now we in-house clip. We have a different process. But he was doing that for a long time, and now he's helping out with the stream and figuring it out, making sure that things run. But it really how I got it figured out as well, and I really suggest this to anyone else who wants to learn how to stream and do that, is just just download the stream material and start playing around with it. You figure out a whole lot of stuff really quick, and you get way more comfortable with it, which is the important part. Also, instructional videos never hurt. They're super good. I don't understand the people who are I really want to do this thing. Have you looked up how to? No. It's it's right there.
Oh, God. You have no idea, as an IT guy, how infuriating that is when...
I don't think I do.
I don't... Oh.
I can imagine. I watch the IT crowd. Okay.
It's... You know what it is? It's that... at least in a corporate environment, I don't want to, shit talk anyone that I work with, and I'm not going to name names or anything. But there are some instances where there are some people who ask me questions, and I ask myself internally in my head, how is this person working this job? How are you asking me these series of questions? This should be part of knowing how to use the software to do your job.
Yeah,
it's if you've been working for the company for 20 years, you should know this in and out. I don't know why you're asking me these constant questions. It's requiring me now to go and learn software that I'm not I don't normally know because you don't know how to use it.
Yeah. So I'm picking up on that lack of info.
Yeah, and I'm this is your job. So why aren't you, so that's what it is. It's just I have those moments where it's just just Google it for half a second.
Please. Yeah. I figured it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah. It took me 10 minutes to figure it out, maybe, because I'm trying to answer your specific question. But if you spent that time to do it instead of emailing me and then waiting me to respond, you could have figured it out by the time I got back to you.
Yeah, like, and it's weird because like when I worked with Anthony, it was actually on the like polar opposite end where he's like, you could learn how to do it, but it would take you forever, and it takes me literally 30 seconds, so I'll just take care of it. And I was like, God, you're such a god, Anthony. Like, but yeah, like I'm definitely with you on that one. Like, it's really frustrating, and like, it can be at first, but then once you're comfortable with it, you like understand, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
And that's why, like, when you came in that one time, and I was like, you just do this, that, and that, and
yeah, I was like,
that's it.
I think I know what I'm doing. Yeah, and
but then I didn't tell you about all the hours configuring everything and getting
and I'm like
working
on the other end where I'm like, dude, unless you know exactly what you're doing, I don't want you touching this console. No offense to you. I'm like, I like, I'm totally that kind of stream guy, which is kind of frustrating too, because then I don't really get a chance to interact with the community as much as I'd like to, because I don't leave the booth. But like at the same time, I'm like, dude, I just care about quality. That's what I want. So yeah, I started doing that.
So anyone else on the team other than everyone we've listed so far?
No, that's it. Just kidding.
Okay.
We got Zeddy Boy. He's a really good dude. He's been like focusing in on himself and his play recently, and like he doesn't when he is around, he's a super awesome like PR guy, and he shouts us out, and it's really good, and we get really good turnouts. And like when he's around, he also helps TO, but like that is not exactly the norm for Zeddy, and that's okay. Like I don't mind, but yeah, he's also got like his job and that whole thing, and that's like just recently come up. But yeah, Zeddy is also a big part of the team. We try. He's done a few videos for us too, which has been nice. And then there's me, who does all the boring parts. No, I'm just kidding. I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I run stream. I try and like set up tournaments, and I run around and stream a whole bunch every week.
So again, why so many tournaments? Why like the frequency? Because I see your posts like constantly. I'm over here.
Yeah, it's like irritating, isn't it?
No,
like,
it's not at all.
It's
but
screaming.
It does beg the question: like, are you burning yourself out by doing all this? Like, this is a lot.
It gets close.
Because we were talking about earlier before we started podcasting here. You know, some of these can be 12-hour. You're telling me the 12-hour days.
Yeah, the 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Those are a lot more common than people think. But like. I am sometimes I feel a little burnout, but then it's like the next day I'm like, that's actually okay. Like yesterday it was rough, dude. Like I get there,
it was warm.
I don't know, it was so warm. I got there at like 9:30ish. I can't remember. I think it was like 9:30ish. We get in there, like doors aren't open, totally not Aiden's fault. And then, so we have to like wait. So I go and I find parking, and I don't know about parking in UW because I'm dumb apparently. And I park in the wrong spot, and like tournament starts, and I'm just like constantly streaming. I'm trying to figure things out. Like, you know, when you get behind the computer and you're just like, oh my gosh, the camera's not working. Like I gotta fix the camera. I gotta troubleshoot the camera, but I don't know enough about the camera to actually troubleshoot the camera. So please, just please start working for me. And so I like have to do that a whole bunch. And that's like it goes off and on, which is just like also frustrating on my end. But then you actually get to the stream, and then you really got to watch things. You got to watch chat. You got to make sure that, and because of like our process, like I'm just never done. Once a set ends, I can walk you through the entire process. Would you like to be walked through the whole?
Sure.
I don't know. Absolutely. Just lay it on me. So like match ends, if it's the end of their set.
Sure.
Then I stop record. I rename the file. I grab the file. I put it up on YouTube. I rename the file that's up on YouTube. I click a couple things on it, and it starts processing. Then I set up who's next for the tournament, make sure that they're all good, hit start recording. I go and I start filling out things to prepare for that whole process again while watching and making sure that I'm not missing anything, because otherwise I got to clip it, which is me pressing a button and then changing over a file over on another scene and then switching between the two scenes. And like, it's like, dude, it's work, man. Like,
it sounds very similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah, like... Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, I love the EPG boys like so much, because you guys have like, you guys really got me started with like, oh, dude, this is what a stream should look like.
Organization and
like looking good and like it's actually working and like things aren't gonna mess. You're like, I know, God, it sucked. No, like
this can get so much better.
I know.
I'm never happy.
Yeah, you're in the same boat that I'm in, because like I went and did tournaments with Chris for like Northwest Majors, and I see what a real stream setup looks like, and I'm like, oh God, it's so good. Like full tripods for each camera. They got lights on the players. They got so many screens, just like a wave of screens. They get all the information to their like commentators. They have a banner behind the commentators. There's lights for the commentators, and then there's one dude running it all at a giant sound system and a giant like tower. It's so insane, and like I just see that and I was like, I need that. Like I want our stream to get to that point for some sick, disgusting reason. But no, like that quality, it really pushes me. To like,
I totally agree. I mean, I have, like you mentioned some of those things, the lighting and the I have more tripods and I have way more lighting equipment, but there's no space to put it.
Yeah. And it also comes down to the space. It's like, how good can I make this stream in this space?
Yeah, you know? With what you have. And if we had a larger, more static location,
like which you guys have been talking about.
Yeah,
hope
it's
you can
something.
Find it.
Well, we had some negotiations at one point, but it's an ongoing.
Hard.
It's an ongoing.
Yeah.
The problem is, and I talked to Zeddy about this, is trying to find a.
That was super sick.
No problem. It's just trying to find a location on a day that works for a majority of the community plus prospective players. Yeah. And in Seattle, in this area, it's a little bit tough just because of geographical, difficulties. Yeah. And so, especially when you're a startup, you don't want to spend too much money. Yeah. And so, like, the most ideal place would be in Seattle. But good luck without spending at least like $4 or $5 a month and like renting out a space. Yeah, and like you'll spend so much money just renting a place out for like a day, man. Like it gets up there. Like that's one of the more frustrating things about like setting up tournaments and like venues and stuff is just like, dude, you got to put so much money down, and then like sometimes you're not even sure what the turnout is going to be, even if you have a super awesome venue. Well, and that's I think that's part of the art of being a TO is figuring out all those variables. That's something I've been trying to do for EPG for a while now, is collect all that data and start figuring out what to attack. Like how to move forward and like, okay, this is where we want to get our venue. What's viable? How can we do this? Working out the numbers, and that's what helps with our weekly meetings as well. We have these weekly meetings, and we go over some of these ideas that we have, and decide what order, which way to go. Yeah, and it's tough. Because it's a lot of effort, and that's the thing. That's the one thing, being a TO is just the effort that it takes. And that's why I'm saying, man, give love to your TOs, give love to your stream guys, because they do, like, once you're on the other side, you recognize how much actual work it is, and then how little they actually get to play, and it's just like, whoa, dude, like, they work pretty dang hard. Good stuff. Well, some of those people, like me, I don't care if I play, because I don't play. And historically, I've never played. So there'll be some people who literally just find their calling in being a TO or somewhere in the, operations side of a tournament. Yeah. But then, they'll definitely be players like yourself or like Robo even, who, play. But dude, Robo works hard, man. But they want to, they want to make sure that they have a tournament and it runs well too. Yeah. Like Aiden's starting to get into the. Well, I guess he had always been playing, but Aiden also like enters a bunch of the tournaments that he runs too. So, like that's hard work. And so since I'm like I don't feel like I want to enter these tournaments as much. So I'd rather like run the stream during the tournament and then just get like super fun friendlies, and then I can play the game kind of how I want to play the game, which is just like random all-star, let's go, and like just have tons of fun. Just have fun with it. Yeah. So when you transitioned over from being a player to a TO / leader of ESS, you have any challenges making that transition, or is there anything that you miss from just being a player and not being a TO?
Challenges. Like, I don't feel like blowing my own horn, but like, because I was really focused on it, and like, I'm gonna be able to handle this. This is not anything that is beyond me. Like, and Logan's been working pretty well with me, and like, all the boys have been so awesome about being like, dude, we'll totally be there with you. Like, as you're doing this, you're taking on a whole lot. Like, we'll back you up. I like, honestly, I haven't felt that challenge.
Smooth transition.
Yeah, I put more of the challenge on myself. Going to these other tournaments, like, that's my own personal challenge and my own, like, I don't take any money home from any of that. I just put it into the ESS fund, and like, that's.
Oh, so you're charging for events?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, like, certain ones, it depends. But yeah, like, I don't know, running pretty dang big events, and like, there are other people that do too. Like, I know.
Well, I mean, for gas, money,
Yeah.
Potential hazards and all that.
But that's
stuff.
like, that's something I can just do and like do something for the community. And since I'm already like basically doing that, I'm like, okay, well, I'll handle this part. And like, because there have been like little bursts where I'll feel like a little bit stressed out and like, hey, we got to get this figured out. Like, things are super secret. Mm-hmm. Things are really shaking up over at ESS. Honestly, things are going to be like changing a whole bunch pretty soon here.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some stuff. But yeah, I'm
trying to get. You can share with us today?
I honestly, like, I kind of want to and give like, a sneak preview, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, I so badly want this to be so cool. Like, everyone basically already knows at this point, like, the Arcadian. We are going to be setting it up. We are going to be figuring it out. I'm literally in the process of doing it.
See, I wasn't sure if that was still going to go through or not.
See, it comes down to the venue, and I've got to figure out the venue, and I've got to figure out our venue right now. Like, with Logan leaving, like, there's a lot more complications than people think. Like, it's not something where it's like, oh man, like, this is really bad, but it's just like, well, it's certain relationships that we don't have anymore. So I've got to make sure that I've got that figured out and that we can still be, ESS in the future. But once that's figured out, once I figured out our venue situation and all these things, like, absolutely the Arcadian's going to happen. And there are so many things that I've like figured out and like talked about, and working with some other people that I know, like, hey, like, how much is this going to cost if we want to do this, and this much, and getting all that figured out, like, it's gotten me really excited. So I don't want to share too much about it, but I'm like, the reason the Arcadian stuff hasn't come out and we've been like pretty quiet about stuff is that I really want to make it big and really awesome. Because I just like, I love our players so much, and I think we'll have like a super awesome Arcadian, and I want them to feel like just like fucking rock stars. Like, okay, that's what I'm looking forward to.
So you're gonna have a baller event.
That's what I'm gonna try. And like, I don't think there's enough time to run it before Nemesis anymore, which is really unfortunate. I really wanted to have the Arcadian go down and then like create some like super hard tension, and then like it just blow up at Nemesis, and Nemesis be like this huge culmination of like, no, he just beat me at that last tournament. Like,
there's so many tournaments going on right now, and there's going to be from.
I mean, we're watching Bigger Balk right now.
There are so many tournaments. We were looking at the schedule for the longest time, and we wanted to do initially our tournament in July or June.
I remember you guys talking about that.
And we were looking at it as like, all right, well, this week's a national, this week's a regional in this area, this week's another national. But it's like, all right, well, is there any tournament or any weekends in this area where we can, find a space at the venue that we want, but also not be in coincidence, like.
Yeah, with the bigger tournaments, because like that does hurt the turnout, and we don't want it to.
Well, and it hurts the turnout, and it also for our stream viewership, when we're trying to pull people to come watch and everything for the hype factor.
Yeah, the hype, and then just get more people out into the scene. Like, exposure's never bad. Yeah.
So it's tough sometimes, just because in that June to like August time frame, there is so many tournaments.
Yeah,
all over
just
the
a
place.
cavalcade, man. Like, it's it's like our own holiday. Like you just go around and you run around to oh my gosh, there's so many tournaments. And like I know like Llama, Mr. Anthony, he's always running around to so many tournaments. I get a little bit jealous. Like I was originally going to go
right
to
now?
Bigger Balk. Yeah, he's at Bigger Balk. He's going to Smash and Splash. He's going to
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
He's always going to these big tournaments.
Because I wasn't sure if he was still playing as much now that he's got his job in
absolutely
California.
playing. Yeah, he's absolutely still playing. He plays with Strong Bad now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to hear about. But
are you jelly?
a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
How can you not be? I mean, he's so goddamn handsome. It's really hard to fight, and his puns are just so on point. So amazing. Yeah, I miss the dude. I still wish he was here. But yeah, he's working on other things now.
So is there anything else as a TO and leader of ESS that you can share with us going on in your sphere? Anything new or upcoming?
I guess so. Like this has already been set in motion, so I guess like it doesn't hurt that much to talk about. Ooh, sneak peek.
Okay.
The PM circuit, our weeklies are going to be a part of it.
You're going to be in the PMCC?
Yeah, PMCC. And I know Nemesis is part of the PMCC,
yeah.
So you'll like earn points there. But basically, with that kind of weekly opportunity, we'll have like way better prizes. I might have other prizes that I've procured from a location I can't exactly talk about, which will be pretty cool for certain people who are huge fans.
Oh, okay. So it's something specialized for sure.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you might see some interesting items there. So like, I want to see like more people at our weeklies, but that's all I can really talk about for the time being. All the other stuff, like I really do want to talk about, but I want to make sure I have it all ironed out. I really, really not anymore. I don't like talking about my plans before I actually have them figured out, because then I'll just stop trying with the plan, which is really stupid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'll keep it hush. I'll get these dates figured out. And then once that's done, like...
That's the hard part, though, is figuring out the dates, because the moment... there's some days where you just want to take a break, because if you're focusing on it too hard, you get burned out, and you just want to take, like, a few days. And then the challenge comes, I need to get back into the cadence of things and get everything all squared away. And then there's just other challenges that arise, or... as I say all the time, recurring tasks. Like if you're running a weekly, you know that you need to do this, and you need to make these posts at these times, and blah 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 blah.
And you got to seem really annoying on Facebook by posting about them all the time, and like that. Tomo's been calling me out on that. He's like, Corey, you can't post these tournaments anymore. I'm like, why? He's like, because that's all you do now. So anytime I see an update from Corey, I know it's a tournament. I'm like, then isn't that like efficient? Doesn't that mean like that's my reminder to go to the thing? He's like, oh, you don't get it, I'm gonna make the post. And so he makes a post and then he messes up the post. I'm just like, damn it, Tomo.
Like that's the hard part, because like even when I do these tournament posting videos for EPG, like you'll see some of them are a lot more personable and more expansive, and then some of them are just like quick, like one paragraph.
It's another weekly, like no offense, but like we have super hype shit happen all the time, but that's because it's happening all the time. We're dead inside Yeah, he got him with the wolf flash again. Oh, did you see that 0 to death from Pikmon? Like, remember the days of being bored of Pikmon? Like, you'd just be like, he might set up for a kill move. Or oh my gosh, he's still going. Oh, you got him.
Or I said this in the past, watching Silent Wolf and Bladewise in grand finals for a year.
Yeah.
Every week.
I was so excited watching it the first few times I was at EPG. I did some of my like best commentary work, being like, oh my gosh, this is how Silent Wolf is playing. Oh, it's totally changing how I'm playing the game. And like, this is how Bladewise is reacting to it. And then we had like sound corruption and I didn't get it. I was like, damn it. But yeah, like I was so hype about the match the first few times. And that's one because like Bladewise was actually starting to take some games from him. And I was like, oh, that's huge. And like actually taking sets. So like for a short time, it was really cool. And then like, you've seen that. It happens. This is why I'm like, I love Random All-Star, because it's just, the players are still so good, but they get to do just wild things that, you know, they're not used to. And that's like super fun. And then you're not used to seeing them either. Like when Chevy's like, hey man, I'm gonna go Ike for a little bit, and then you see Chevy's Ike, and you're like, oh, Chevy's Ike is so amazing, and then like he'll go back and be like, oh, dude, in Melee, I'm playing Bowser now, and you're like, oh, dude, Chevy's, you know, and that's because Chevy's just an awesome player all around. But like,
and he knows a lot of characters.
Yeah, he knows a lot of characters,
especially
but he's like,
if they have some sort of jank to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if he gets killed by something that's silly from one of those characters, I've noticed that sometimes he'll go back and try to learn that specific move.
There's a lot he won't touch. There are ones where I guess he'll like look at and he's like, that's cancer, I'm not touching that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, well, he doesn't learn like the Sonic tag, he doesn't learn the Game & Watch tag, or maybe he's secretly just like, yeah, I know about him, but I'm not touching that because I hate it.
Or maybe he touches it but he doesn't tell anyone. He'll just sit there,
oh my god,
on net
touching
player.
it secretly in silence.
He'll get like a different net play name and practice like Sonic on the side. Yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask him.
I want another tag, Crush Farty. No! He's so good at Sonic now. No, Chevy's like super crazy good, but yeah, like that's something about commentary and like weeklies and such is just like you've seen this a whole bunch of times, and like maybe if it's reverse mains or something else, like that's why I like the EPG stuff where it's like, hey, we're gonna switch it up this week because it's like, dude, we need that. We actually need that. Like there are the times where we really want to improve, and then there's like, hey, let's also have fun with it. Like just a little bit, you know, let's switch it up every once in a while. That's why I like the Arcadian as well. It's like you definitely get better going to these weekly tournaments, and like you might get lucky enough that none of the PR members show up. Those are usually the days that recently I've been entering. Is just like like a few months before I made like the hard transition. I remember one day I like walk in and I take a look at the bracket and I'm like, oh my god, is it too late to sign up? I got this. Like so good, free money. Anthony's like, yeah, but I'll get you in there. I was like, yes. And like Forrest was thinking the exact same thing before I walked in, and like he constantly tells me, he's like, Corey, I hate the day that you walked in like that. It was my day.
That happens here too.
I heard the legend of like DB Sammy versus Pikmon, and how he came close. Oh, and then Bluetooth actually taking one of the tournaments. That's right.
Yeah, it can get really interesting because we have on a normal basis like 6, 7 of the PR here every week, and that can be difficult for new players for sure. So it's a more hostile.
No new players taking home money when they come to EPG.
Yeah, it's a hostile.
It's humble pie. Like
it's a hostile environment. But I mean, the people here. I mean, you've been here enough where sometimes it can get a little salt if it gets a little too serious. But for the most part, it's a pretty chill environment. But you know, when you're playing a game, you know, there's no mercy. You know, you will get, you know, it's either slay or be slayed.
Yeah. There's always the tournament cheese that you got to break through. Like the first time Mewtwo does is the battlefield trick on you in Melee. You're like, yeah, you got Mewtwo cheese. You're not going to let that happen again, are you? No, I had no idea that was the thing. Yeah. There's the Sheik Puff cheese, which is just like when Sheik uses dash attack or like certain moves, you just hold down with Puff and you crouch under it, and then Puff gets a free rest. And you're like, yeah, you'll run into that a couple times, but you usually get smart to that after a certain point. There's just like so many cheese things that you got to learn from a tournament that like a top player can do. Like Bowser is like the most pristine example. I'm so sick and tired of getting side B to side B, and that's what kills you. I'm not happy when I get that kill. I don't think like most Bowser mains aren't happy with that anymore. They're just like, yeah, it looks cool the first time, but like the billionth time, you're just like, you just messed up. You messed up really bad because you missed like a very specific DI time, and like it was really important during this combo to not get hit by this move, but because I got you this time
because it's no longer a cool move or anything. It's a calculated, you know, set of it's
not you being good, it's them being bad. And when you recognize that, it's like
but you're also looking at it and like in an analytical standpoint where you're breaking down how they messed up. You know, it's not just that they messed up like, oh, you did this move a little bit too late, but you're thinking how it all ties together, the combos of moves, how you should have done it, you know, and that just takes time to develop.
Yeah.
And so for the new player, they don't understand that all the time.
Yeah, experience is like, it's almost bigger than tech skill, I want to say. Like tech skill, you will definitely go far, but experience is how you win money. Like, like the Arcadian yesterday kind of proved that, and like, just so many times, like Gus ended up winning that one.
Really?
Dude, it was emotional. He worked so hard for that, and he had to go through like 2 puff dittos, and Gus has been putting in so much work, and he is so good. Like I'm not afraid to admit it because he's an awesome dude, and like, dude, honestly, like in that situation, I don't blame you at all. He broke down in tears with happiness when he won, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like, that's so awesome that we have that in our community. When someone wins a tournament that they wanted to so bad that it actually like has that effect on them, I'm like, I remember the times that was like affecting me as a player, like beating Chief for the first time, like, ooh. Like, that's such an important feeling.
So that rolls into a question I have. As a TO then, and now, you know, seeing what you just described, you know, is there anything more that you feel that we can do as TOs in this area? Or, you know, do you have any ideas of what we can do in this area to kind of make a better environment for this kind of stuff?
It's hard to say. Like, a lot of the TOs are actually really good TOs. I think it's like the general turnout that affects a lot of it. Like Washington, I've talked to a bunch of the players, and like a lot of Washingtonians are like, yeah, we kind of have like a lazy PR, or we kind of have this. But with like PM, it's a little bit better. So I guess like because we're like so tightly knit, and like we update more often. I don't know really how to describe it. I mean, like Comm Masters back in town.
We see each other more often.
Yeah.
And we are a little bit more active. Because we are always
the
going to
the PR members are always traveling. Like, like even Chevy makes sure to like come out to each of the ESSs, and like that works out for them. But like a lot of the newer players are like, God, what can we do? So as like TOs, I guess like encourage people to come out to events more. Like, that's how Smash is going to grow. Bring your friends. Like, I know Bebop. Shout outs to you, Dominique, again. You never come. You never come to the events, and I tell you, I'm just kidding. I'm not actually that angry. But yeah, like, keep encouraging players and people who are like, oh, I kind of want to get better. Or even if they're like, oh, I just enjoy this game. Like, dude, you should probably come to a tournament then. You just, like, sit down, and people do ridiculous stuff all the time. And it's usually, like, it's this weird type of player who's like, I'm a casual, but I take winning and losing way too serious, but I don't want to get good at the game. Like, those are the kind of people that I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not going to bring you to a tournament. Like, maybe I'll hold back. One, because like, I don't know. Like, I guess nothing against those kinds of players, but like that is definitely an attitude that can like ruin a tournament experience for a new time player, because it's like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm either looking for victory or just like fun between friends, like, you know, sort of fragile ego, or just like not used to it. I know I definitely had to get used to losing, like, and that's something like a lot of top players are still doing, like being able to cope with losing. And honestly, like, it's not me tooting my own horn, but like I feel super gracious that like I got around that at like a really early point in like my Smash career, is that like losing usually doesn't feel that bad anymore. Like that was the one time, DB Sammy, that was the one time I felt like really bad, and it was how I acted after I lost, not the actual loss itself.
Well, that's the one thing, and I keep saying this over again, when people come here for our tournaments and they face up, you know, against a PR player, especially like Chevy or
Who's
Aki
Blade Wise? Oh, young boy.
Exactly. So when that happens, and then they come back and they report their score, and I'll say, how'd it go?
Oh, I know what you're about to say. Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, dude, and they'll have that like, sometimes it'll be like a sarcastic kind of happy thing, and then you know that like they don't really feel too bad about it, but then there's some people they just feel like they just got dumped on. Yeah. And that's where you got to massage that a little bit. You got to go in. I think as a TO and trying to be someone in, or at least try to take participate in the community on some level to, you know, at least explain to people, but you know that you're gonna lose. You know, you need to expect it. You know, but you need, as you said earlier, you need to take every loss as a learning experience and figure out where you can go better, or even, you know, don't be so shy to not even talk to the other person. Yeah. You know, especially who cares if they are a PR person or not. You know, if you're playing a game with them and they're willing to at least spend the time to play with you, you know, at least ask them some questions mid-game, try to figure out what suggestions they can make to you to improve your play.
Yeah, and like a large majority of the players are already really good about that. But like sometimes we don't. We're running through the bracket. We're trying to focus on like the next guy, and like you smash through a dude who's never really played, and you like force stock the hell out of him, and you're just like, all right, I gotta move. And like that, I guess this would be my suggestion to players is like take a little bit more time, like. But also watch it. Like that's also kind of frustrating situation because like if someone just lost to you like that, they're in salt stasis. Like it's totally okay to just be like, dude, I should probably leave you alone. But that's player to player. Like some players are just like, dude, I really want to learn, and then there are some players who are like, I just lost, don't talk to me. And it's like you could gain so much if I just told you what's fresh on my mind. Like there are reasons why you lost and that kind of thing.
Well, and that's where just. It's that social getting through and social anxiety, trying to figure people out, trying not to be offensive, and
giving everyone their due space, but still being able to engage. And that's what I'm talking about with like TOs. We gotta engage the community more and like get them out, get them out of their shell, get the friends out, and then treat them well too. Like engage them. Like I always felt, it was actually always nice to like talk to you about the game a little bit. It's like. No matter how mad you get, you always want to talk about the game. Like, there are very few times when people are like, no, I just literally don't want to talk about it. And, like, if that happens, it's like, whatever, okay, yeah, you leave it there. And it's like, T.O., you did your work, that's fine. But, like, after someone's been through that, like, they do want to talk about it. And it's just, like, either to just be like, Game & Watch sucks. Or to be like, yeah, okay, so Sonic has this stuff on me, and I really just got to work around it.
Yeah, I find that when I'm over here at the computer and we have people reporting their scores that sometimes when people lose and they come to report their score, I try to... I try to figure out, and I always say this, I think I've said it every single podcast so far, always try to figure out, do you know what you did wrong? Did you learn anything from that?
Did you learn anything? Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like such a cliche, such a jerk thing to say to someone, especially right after they lost, but it's so important.
Yeah.
Because that is more important than anything, if you're taking the game seriously, that is more important than any of the emotions that you're going through. You need to, figure out a way to deal with your emotions and put them to the side, but you need to really think critically, was there something that I could have done better, or is there something that, that I did wrong that I should stop doing?
And sometimes just even, like, saying it really helps, not gonna lie. Like there's so many times where it's just like and you just keep bottling it up and you're like, just F this character, and then you just say it and you're like, I just really don't like Game & Watch. And then like once you say it, you're like, yeah, I really don't. I should figure out something to do about that.
It's the grievance process. You have the first stage.
So you just need to get it out of the way and talk about it. And like that has honestly been like advice for life. Like just talk about it. That's even like problems with TOs, if you got a problem with a player, like you can just talk about it. Like most of them are so cool and so open to just being like, hey, here's what's going on. Like there's something going on, and like we can't, like I've had to run in that situation once or twice, and like every player has made me proud. Like just being like, no, okay, this is how I handle it.
Well, isn't that the difficult part though of being a TO, is that you've been through this so long, even as a player, or at least been doing the action for so long, or you've experienced these kinds of things for so long that you start to lose patience for stuff. And so when certain things happen, or things are happening and they shouldn't be happening, or people are saying things, you just want to almost cut them off and be like, look, this is the deal.
This is what's up. Moving on.
But you don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to, impose yourself just because you don't want to feel like a jerk. And seeing how we're talking about the size of the community, how we're trying to grow it, you don't want to, especially do that kind of stuff to the new players.
Yeah.
Try to be like, look, guy, like you need to cut it out.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you could always potentially have some sort of backlash happen, or anything, and you just don't want that extra drama.
Yeah, and that'll like turn players off from your whole venue in general, and it's just like, I don't want that kind of,
and it's hard. It's
situation. So it's definitely something to work on, and like players can always help out with that, because if they're like, no, this is just how the place runs, like there are like a couple places that are at bars you guys used to be over at. I'm trying to think, AFK.
AFK.
Yeah, and like people will watch you and be like, hey man, I think you drank a little bit too much. Like most of the players will call you out depending on what you do with that, you know. But a lot of players are like, they're good about that, or they're like, hey, this is actually the rule set for this. Like, hey, actually at this point it's going to be best of 5. Like, or like helping out the stream, like, hey, hang on, wait for him. Okay.
Now, does that also beg the question that maybe as a community in the Pacific Northwest that we need more communication, or figure out better ways for the community to interact with one another, because and also reach out to new players and try to retain them a little bit more?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think there's opportunities that we can make there?
Yeah, reaching out to newer players is good, because like regardless of how you look at it, like if someone's going to be playing, like that's just one person in a one-person tournament. It's not a tournament.
Yeah.
And like that's how you get more people coming too, is like the bigger it gets, like literally the bigger it gets. That's like a lot of the other bigger esports that are out there. Like a lot of people go to it because it's like, oh, there's how many people playing it? That's super dope. Like that's honestly the main reason that I went out to these kind of tournaments. I was like, how many people are sitting in their nerd basements and playing Smash Bros? Yeah, I'm gonna go to that. Let's go.
It's the spectacle more than It's the spectacle more than anything.
Yeah.
You know?
So like encouraging that, I think, is important, because I know, like, I've done it plenty of times too. I'm not saying like I'm free from any of this, but there are so many times that we could go to tournaments and we don't, and it's not even something like I'm too busy, I'm not this. There are some times where we're just like, I'm just not feeling it today, and like, I guess to each their own on that end. But like me, to encourage, if you want to improve the community, go. Like it's going to cost you a little bit. It's going to cost you like as much as it would cost if you like ate out that day.
Sure.
Yeah. Like it's not going to cost you much. You're going to interact more. Like that's better for the TOs. It's better for everyone. Like just get more engaged with your community. And if you're not even feeling like playing that much, talk to someone at the tournament. There are so many interesting people at the tournament that you meet, like if I didn't take the time out to talk to like anyone at the tournament, I probably would have stopped playing like a long time ago, just because like Dan was the main reason I was coming out.
It's the community factor.
Yeah, it's really important. And like there are so many cool people. Like I want to shout out to Alex over at the UW. Like I never really got to talk to him too much, but like he would take special time out of like each tournament and make sure to be like, oh hey, you did really good. Like here's what's up. This is kind of our schedule going through. Like what's up, and like talking about the matchup and like just engaging in a little bit more, and like that does a lot for the community. There's a bunch of like little, I guess, kind of like little ways to do it. Oh,
the little stuff just adds up.
Yeah, sorry, J-Fist just lost to Thunder's Reign, at Game 5. My goodness, that was super close. But yeah, it totally adds up. So like TOs, encourage more people to come out. Players, encourage yourselves to come out more. You're all like super talented, and I want to see you guys play. Even if it's like, oh man, I totally got shit on in this tournament. It's like, yeah, but that was that tournament. You know, that's what, like, that's part of my mentality, and like I'm sure it's top player mentality too, is like there's going to be another tournament. There's always going to be another time for me to prove myself against you. There's always a time for me to dethrone you, like, and that's going to be vice versa. So I got to stay vigilant and be happy with the victories and like not care about the losses.
And I think we've come full circle.
Yeah.
To when you got to your top of the top of your game, and you were like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I want to go and maybe
I want a little bit more casual, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
And I'll still like, I'm not completely done. Like I'm still working on Bowser. Like my Bowser is still, it's pretty good. I'm working with someone on a new character, and of course I always say that.
Why are you coming back to play some tournaments in the future?
But it's like personal goals. It's like I wanted to have a really good Bowser, and now it's like I've always really wanted to have a really good this character.
Sure.
And like now I kind of want to work on it, and it helps me stay engaged with the community. And that's really important to me. Like honestly, like this community is super important to me, and So
we're about 2 hours in.
My God.
So we're going to go and wrap this up. Is there any final words you want to throw out to the community? Give it any shout outs or anything else?
Dude, I have literally too many shout outs. So if I forgot, and we've even interacted, like I can think of like literally 50 names right now where I'm like, I really want to shout you out, but that's too much and too quick. But you're all awesome, and I super love you guys for being in this kind of community. I want you guys to come out more. I want to see all you guys improving. If you ever see me and you're like, dude, I want to get better, let's talk. Like, I will talk to you. If you ever see some, you know, if you're ever just wanting to talk to someone, just like come to the tournament, man. We're waiting for you. Come to EPGs every Thursday at 6 to whenever the hell you want to go home.
Thanks for plugging us. And
and then ESS on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. Come to ESS on Sundays in Bellevue at Jubilee Reach.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you can always always go on Facebook too. Like, make sure you're watching for those kind of things.
Watch for our weekly spam posts. Everyone gets mad.
Yeah. Like, don't get mad. I'm sorry.
Is there a solution for that? I mean, I don't want to.
God, I don't want to
get back into the.
AutoCal. We should start trying to use AutoCal.
Okay, let's do that, and we'll communicate on Facebook later.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a blast.
Thanks for coming out, and now I think we're gonna enjoy the sunshine just a tiny bit, and
just a tiny bit. Oh, we'll enjoy it. It'll be good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you listen to this 2-hour-long podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to sign up and come to Nemesis in July, and look out for ESS or potentially change whatever is going on in ESS. The Arcadian that is coming up in the future as well.
Yeah. Things are happening. Things are happening over at the ESS, and EPG's always got the good crew. So
thanks for listening, guys, and have a good Memorial weekend.
Yeah.
And by the time you hear this, it's after Memorial weekend. So
hope you had a good Memorial weekend.
Weekend. All right. Cheers.
Love you, fam.
Bye.